is Trump is failing to hit the big numbers on mass deportations that he's promised. We've reported this on this show previous to this clash. He is lagging far behind Biden's numbers. Let's take a look at the chart. If we have, in the last full month, Trump came up short of Biden's number. So you could call that roughly a tie. You could call him slightly behind, apples to apples, a month of February deportations. That is the context for part of the extreme effort and messaging. Indeed, ICE and border veterans have discussed this early record openly, that they're not exactly beating Biden. You're saying if you want to really up the numbers in a concrete way over the years, you'd have to go to Congress and get new funding, basically a new funding law to do it. Why do you think President Trump hasn't done that or talked about that yet?
Oh, I don't want to speak for the administration why they haven't. I'd be railing about this instantly because we've been saying we needed more beds, we need more funding.
I think he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do on the campaign this past cycle. I think the deportations are key in making sure that they are targeting the worst criminals first.
When you say prioritization of the worst, does that mean fewer overall deportations? Because one interesting thing, and we're just following the numbers with you here, is if you look at the comparison, I'll put this on the screen, Trump versus Biden, right now, it's actually a lower rate of deportations.
This is the most aggressive action any president has ever taken to secure our southern border. We're also re-implementing, under President Trump's direction and leadership, Remain in Mexico. We're re-implementing Safe Third agreements, ending catch and release. And of course, we are unleashing ICE to perform its mission all across the interior of the United States.
That's some of the discourse and the facts. The administration reportedly frustrated with their slow numbers, according to the New York Times. So as Trump appears to push a strategy of defying these court orders, he's not making that move from a position of policy strength. He's making it from a position of policy weakness and concern about not even hitting the Biden numbers. And then you have the PR videos trying to show the impact. You have a lot of efforts to say this is a big deal. The numbers are not big. This is significant for all the number of reasons and reporting and facts I just showed you tonight. But I want to be clear, now that you look at the context, they want this to play as a big deal for 200 people. They are actually still trailing the overall numbers and far from the mass deportations they vowed. A lot of that is law and policy. As for the politics, which also matters if you're talking about what you can get out of Congress, top group of Democrats protesting this and echoing what the judge said, that we are not at war, immigrants are not invading the country, and it is courts that determine whether people have broken the law. So you take it all together there and you have a lot. I mentioned the faltering on mass deportation because so much in the Trump era, you probably know this by now, right? We all kind of know it, always involves this sort of other PR reverse spin. It's almost like the main thing is never the only thing because there is such an obsession, a fixation with the PR and the message above the substance that you're going to hear a lot more about that because they want you to. And yet it's a trap if you say, well, we're not going to discuss it just because they want it, yada, yada, yada. We could have whole journalism conferences about how to objectively, responsibly cover this stuff. But you got to keep both of these things in mind. From a position of weakness, they're faltering on their own mass deportation vows, and they don't have some big bill in Congress or some other big plan to do what that former ICE director said in the interview I just excerpted, that you got to get money from Congress to build a lot of beds if you want to do this in a massive scale. Meanwhile, they got Elon Musk and other people cutting everything left and right with no organization. Then you have this wider autocratic question. Are they deliberately and repeatedly violating court orders on this issue where they want the attention? They don't want necessarily a full scandal, but they want people to think they're going hard at the issue because the long-term plan is to see how much they can get away with violating courts because they don't want to be in a democracy governed by the rule of law.
What I see is a government under Trump that will say anything or do anything to achieve an objective. I thought you were kind in a way when you said you didn't say appreciate or understand, but they don't appreciate the consequences of what they're doing, and the way they improvised in response to the court's order to get to where they wanted to get. When we have among these people named in that case as defendants, the Attorney General of the United States and the Secretary of State, and they stand by and they're part of this, I think the judge is going to have a very powerful order tomorrow. I don't know if he'll be taking them one by one or whatever. But as you said, when you have an order saying don't do something and the judge says it in court, often that's the only thing that's said. And an order travels after that in days afterwards. But the short order that the judge sent in writing, in print, was as clear as could be. And they just decided by their calendar to hide this thing and do it under the darkness of night. And then when they were caught on their principles, that is to say that the Alien Enemies Act, which requires a war, like it was used in 1812, World War I, World War II, and that the predatory incursions, which the administration has mentioned, has to be by a foreign government. What is that foreign government? Is it Venezuela? I don't think so. So what I see here is another extension of the government ignoring the law, clearly said for certain purposes, bringing into this maw people who we know some are absolutely innocent. We've already heard the stories. You know, one is a doctor, another person's a 23-year-old. He was taken in because he had a tattoo, and the tattoo was of his mother, and they take it as a gang tattoo. We can't fix the stupid agents. We can't fix the corrupt government. And the people who suffer are those who are being tortured in Venezuela. The pictures all have the officers shaving their heads, putting on white T-shirts and white shorts, and they're wearing masks as they do it. They cannot stand to show the face to us for the crimes they're committing.